In the rugged mountains of Albania, a medieval set of laws has held sway for centuries. Known as the canon, these laws have now been mostly abandoned, but one brutal custom remains. I'm on my way into the mountains to find out more about the ruthless eye for an eye justice that's been making a resurgence here.
The cases of blood feuds are growing, and we have seen even some real tragedies in the middle of Tirana.
Të pasojat e fundit që janë vrarë, them kanë ndikuar shumë papunësia, varfëria dhe paditonia. Unë do bëj atë që më takon dhe kam marrë një mision tamam ajo me drejt Zotit që të marrë nxjerr njerëz nga halli nga cikleti duke heqë I breng atij dhe I breng juve. Se edhe ajo është.
Agim Loci is one of a handful of peacemaking missionaries determined to stamp out the practice of blood feuds.
Unë tash jam një pajtim 50 vjeçar, 50 vjet në gjak. Janë vrarë deri tash 4 veta.
While the government has made little progress in quelling this barbaric custom, my translator, Arba, tells me it at least manages to catch some of the perpetrators.
This prison is for the region, and most of the inmates are inmates that have committed some crime related to blood feud conflicts.
As we travel deeper into the mountains, it's like travelling back in time. And in this forgotten corner of Europe, there are still a few living relics of blood feuds past.
Jemi fshat Mbrakanesh, është një nga fshatet e Krujës.
Agim is here to meet with a sworn virgin, a woman who was forced by tradition into a startling transgender transformation, required to act and live as a man.
Qamili është 19 vjeçe, aktualisht. Ajo që është 12 vjeçe ka veshur rrobat pra ka kthyer nga një femër, një vajzë e vogël 12 vjeçe është kthyer në burr. Ka veshur xhamadanin, ka ver kapelën, sulën, edhe ka veshur prekushet. Po njëkohësisht edhe ka vurë armën brez. Është shul pranë kuvent burrë që është moshën 12 vjeçe.
Camille's transformation was sparked by a blood feud decades before. The practice of designating sworn virgins has now virtually ceased, leaving just a few dozen living examples. Sworn virgins are a bizarre custom that usually followed the vendetta-related death of a father with no male heirs.
Very pleased to meet you.
In Camille's case, it was sparked by a female cousin breaking off her engagement well over 70 years ago. Camille certainly has a man's tongue, as well as a man's clothes. She's relished being the family's father figure, despite the loss of her female identity.
Kishe martu, kishe fëmijë, do kishe pas qef?
Si sem bon pishman, se për datmi që shifen sit.
Nuk ka shumë si
Nuk ka kështu Andret. Ka qenë se kishte jem gruje për ka jete burë, vesh kështu si unë, me qifte më kroha, me teke më kroha, me thënë, e rite me orë kështu, rite këtu, ne kishte shpajnë që të porë. Kjo nona?
That's the mother.
Nona, kje?
That's her.
Almost 80 years after taking on the role of her family's protector, Camille has been left with nothing more than their photos. Although women appear to be the innocent victims here, the country's leading blood feud expert says that in fact it's Albanian women who've kept the revenge culture alive.
And
the plight of these families imprisoned by death threats, Agim is taking us to meet the Prengas. They've been on the run for almost a decade after the father shot at a former neighbour who was attacking his wife. Unable to walk beyond the fence lines surrounding the cottage where he and his family are hiding, Lech Prenga says almost nothing has changed since his release from prison. Lech has already survived several attempts on his life. A few seconds of reckless behaviour by Lech years earlier has turned life into a never-ending nightmare for the entire Prenga family. Lech knows that if their location is discovered, it's likely that both of his young sons would be killed along with him. Trapped in this small cottage and unable to work to support their family, both Lech and his wife know that unless the feud is resolved by a mediator like Agim, their misery and isolation is set to continue. Volunteer organisations like the National Committee for Reconciliation have few resources to help families like the Prengas. Intrigued by what appeared to be a lacklustre effort by the authorities, I arranged to meet the Chief of Police in Albania's capital, Tirana. He was eager to tell me that the Reconciliation Committee's statistics on blood feuds were highly exaggerated.
Në Shqipëri, pavarësisht se mund të ketë organizata jo qeveritare që merren me pajtimin e gjagjeve, të cilët kanë gjetur gjithë përkrahjen dhe mbështetjen e policisë, shifrat shpeshherë që këto organizata japin janë shpeshherë të pavërteta për hir të realitetit. Këto e tregojnë më së miri statistikat që ne disponojmë lidhur me.
According to Commander Tonin Volkaj, the practice of blood feuds has been virtually eliminated in Albania, and he scoffed at claims of more than 1,400 families forced into hiding.
Që të bëjmë fjalë për ngujime tradicionale ose klasike, siç kanë ekzistuar në librat e kanunit ose në historitë e shkruara, nuk mund bëhet fjalë më në Shqipëri me që të ekzistojnë fenomene të kësaj natyre.
But blood feuds do exist in Albania, and there's a lack of government will to tackle them, according to international NGOs. In fact, Albania's leading human rights defender claims that corruption in the police force and court system has made the problem far worse.
This is something that we have monitored. We have cases even in the court, but the court is very corrupted, and not only the court, the police are very corrupted.
According to the director of Albania's human rights group, Elsa Balori, citizens continue to take the law into their own hands because of a lack of faith in the country's justice system.
I don't think that the situation is very easy to be solved. People don't feel secure. The police assistance, it's not functioning. They don't care.
With no end to the problem in sight, it's up to mediators like Agim to keep making regular peace missions into the mountains.
Se janë 50 familje që synë e zdin edhe jeni të një gjaku. Kjo është me e keqa.
Agim's phone is running hot. He's trying to defuse a blood feud.
Nami tretol të shtëpia këtyre ka qenë një çorbe e vërtet, janë rrahur dhe në gjykatë, janë qelluar dhe janë çarë me shishe e birre, 2 palët me fjalë kur janë përplasur bashkë në gjykatë. Ka qenë një luftë e vërtet, por tash kam një 6.
It's a particularly difficult case, but my translator Arba tells me Agim has managed to achieve a temporary truce.
He's made some progress by trying to convince the father of the damaged party that if he kills the person who has made the first killing, then his sons will be open to another killing. So it will be an endless cycle.
Breaking these cycles of violence could take decades, but Agim is determined to bring a long-lasting peace to these mountains.
Mund ta them, kemi një mision ton që është shumë human, shumë fisnik, për të arritur ato pajtimet